Good evening. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Cup of Tea and Case Studies. We are back for 2024. God, it's been a while. I think the last time we did one of these was June. Is it June, maybe, for Year 11 exams? But yeah, we're definitely back now. And we're all good to go. Hey, good to see you all. Hit us up on the chat, guys. Say hello to us. See who's in the house today and who's come to do some late night geography revision. Late night? Well, it's 6 o'clock, isn't it? 6 o'clock. It's quite late. It's late for us, isn't it? We normally finish at 3 o'clock. But see who's in the house, say hello to us, and we'll do a little roll call. But yeah, thanks for joining us. And yeah, you're in for an exciting evening here. So hello, James. Good to see you, James. Thanks for joining us. First in the chat. Try and make it first in the chat every single time. I challenge you there. But thanks for joining us. And if anybody else is watching, Soph or parents are watching, hello to them as well. Moderator, I nearly said your name there. I nearly said your name. No, we didn't say your name. Good to see you, moderator. Thanks for joining us in the chat tonight. Hopefully you're good. I hear you're not very well. Moderator. So hopefully you're good. Oh, they're all coming through now. Thank you very much. Amaze, nice one. You're a regular viewer of the live streams from 2024 when we did them last time round. We've got an action-packed cup of tea and case studies for the next 4 weeks. So hopefully you can join us on a Monday night. Lily, thanks Lily for dropping in. Very excited for this. Yeah, so am I. Good to see you. What's OFC, by the way? Of course, I don't know. Tell us what OFC means. I don't know. Yeah, it's cold, isn't it? Absolutely freezing outside. I think it's about 3 degrees at the moment where I am. Yeah, very, very cold, very frosty. And it's nice to be indoors, where we can do a bit of geography, keep warm and dry. And if you're wondering what this is just the webcam thing that's going to show us what we're doing on our live stream today. So let me show you what we've got going on. So for today's live stream, you're going to need the following bits of stuff. Let me just show you what we've got on standby, just so you can get what you need. Here we go. There we are, guys. So that's the first thing you need. It's called Cup of Tea and Case Studies. Of course, you need a biscuit. Make sure you got a biscuit there. You're never too old for Smarties, obviously. A couple of Smarties there. You're going to need some sugar, guys, to get you through tonight's work. So, yeah, what have you got? What you got on standby? I've got a caramel slice and some nice Smarties. So hit us up in the chat, guys. What are you live streaming to tonight? Have you got some sugary snacks on standby? Obviously, it's Mr. Stafford. He loves his brew and a cup of tea. Cup of tea and case studies. So obviously, you need that for revision. Let's just put that over there. Also, you're going to need tonight some coloured crayons, because it is geography, of course. You've got all your coloured crayons here. I've got a highlighter and I've got a pen and a piece of paper as well. Yeah. So if you are watching along live, which I know many of you do, you will need these bits and bobs as well to create our live case study. So get your equipment. You've got around about 2 minutes to grab your equipment that you need. Pen, A4 piece of paper, highlighter, a couple of coloured crayons, obviously some Smarties and some biscuits or whatever you've got in the cupboards, and a cup of tea. Yeah, get them things ready to go. Oh, I'm showing you what we're making. That's the one we're making there, guys. Exclusive there, a bit of an exclusive. So I'll just stop sharing that just for 1 second whilst we go back here and see what else is happening whilst we're just waiting for people to join. Yes, it means of course. Ah, of course, yes. Thanks, Lily. You are skilling me up on my Instagram, YouTube, whatever it is, chat. Yes. James has got flapjack. We said that last time. Flapjack's one of my favourites. I'll be having a bit of flapjack for one of these live streams. We've got, how many have we got? We've got 4 live streams, all of which will help you for your mock exam in December. All the content is critical content that's going to help you revise and get that top grade in your December geography mock exam. You're going to smash it, guys. Don't miss a single live stream. If you don't manage to make one, though, you can watch them on catch up. They are not pre-recorded, they're live, but they are recorded. So you can always watch them back if you need to. If you miss anything or you want to watch it again, absolutely. Right, I think we should be ready to go. Is anybody in the chat who wants to say hello before we get started? It is an opportunity as well to ask any questions. The live chat is there for questions and all that sort of good stuff. Live stream 1, natural hazards. So we're going to focus on question 1, natural hazards section in this live stream. So you can hit the ground running and get off to a really good start on question 1, paper 1. It's worth 33 marks, this section, by the way, so you've got to get it right. So hopefully you've been practicing your natural hazards. And for some of you, it's been a very long time since we did natural hazards, if you're in year 11. So this is going to be a really good refresher. Right, I think we're all up to date with the chat. Are we ready to go, guys? We're going to smash it out. We're going to do it in 30 minutes, hopefully. And then you can send your pictures of your completed piece of work to your Show your geography teachers, and you can get a class chart reward as well for your revision. All the revision today, make sure you keep it absolutely safe. Keep looking at it, little and often, 10, 15 minutes each day. Keep revising it, and you'll be very good for that mock exam come December. So here we go. Let's smash it out. This is what it's going to look like once it's finished. Yeah, there's one I made earlier. Here we go. So this is a completed version. I absolutely love making these. I know you didn't think I'm sad, but I absolutely love making these. So that's one I made earlier, and this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it again because I like making them along with you guys, doing it alongside you. Okay, so hit us up in the comments if you've got any questions as we're going along. Oops, just dropped my pen lid. And I'm going to zoom in at the top of the paper now. Give you a right good close up of the paper so you can see what we're doing. Someone else, just quickly, there you go. And Peter, hello Peter, good to see you. Thanks for joining us for tonight's cup of tea and case studies. Right, hopefully you got your paper and your pen ready. Let's hit this out. So this is going to be all for question 1. Question 1 in paper 1 is all about natural hazards. Have I got my little light on? There we go. Let's put the little light on. Yeah, I will stop every now and again just so you give you time to have a little look. Natural hazards. I do like it to be beautifully neat, guys, as you know. Well, as I try be. There you go. So natural hazards, that's just in the middle at the top as our little banner. Okay. If I end up going too fast, guys, just let me know and I'll slow down. Right, going up to the top left-hand side, we're going to focus our first little session on climate change. So we're going to have a little look at climate change. It's been a while. One of the biggest threats facing humanity is our rising greenhouse gas emissions and how we go about tackling climate change. So we're going to have a little look at this section first of all. So we're going to start with a key word. It's mitigation. Mitigation. So when managing climate change, you can do one of two things. You can try and mitigate the problem, or you can try and adapt to the problem. And today we're going to focus on mitigation. And mitigation is about reducing greenhouse gas levels. So it's anything that helps, any technology or any solution that helps to reduce greenhouse gas levels in order to prevent climate change, which is fantastic. Okay, greenhouse gas levels to prevent climate change. So it's anything that we do, technology-wise, governments, to reduce climate change, okay? So greenhouse gas levels is what we're focusing on, and we're going to have a little look here at international agreements. In fact, I'm just going to highlight mitigation because that is a key word. So mitigating a problem is trying to prevent it from starting or developing in the first place. And using technology is one way to mitigate climate change. Okay, so we're going to have a little look at a way of mitigation. Just going to draw a few people here. These are my world leaders. There you go. These all run countries. These are my world leaders. And one I want to look at today is international agreements. So what leaders of countries can do to mitigate climate change. So we're going to have a look at international laws and agreements that have been put in place to help reduce climate change. Now, climate change is a global problem. You on your own can't solve it. Neither can I. Neither can the UK on its own. It's a global issue, and therefore we need a global solution. And that is a key phrase. So I'm going to draw a globe. Here we go. Here's my globe. Bit of colour. There we go. And I'm going to write global solution around it. So climate change requires a global solution. Cannot be fixed by one country on its own. It needs global mitigation strategies. Okay, so there is, I'll just zoom in a bit nearer so you can see our global solution. There we go, guys. Oh, we've got somebody else who said hello. Margaret, shout out to Margaret. Thanks for joining us today. Hello, hope you're well. Hopefully you're joining in today's little live stream. Thanks for dropping in the comments. Right, international agreements. What do you know about international agreements? Hit me up in the chat, guys. Anything you know about agreements made on climate change that help countries to come to some sort of solution. So what do we already know about international agreements? How do they help to mitigate climate change? Do you know the names of any international agreements? Possibly. Do you know any targets that have been set? Possibly. I'll give you 30 seconds. Anything in the chat, guys? Gives me a chance to sip my tea. Okay, right. Nothing there. Right, so it's all brand new. Well, international agreements, I would say, are an example of 5-star solutions. Okay. AQA believe that they are vital in tackling climate change. I'm just going to put CC because I'm going to run out of space. Climate change. So they are absolutely critical. If we don't get world leaders sat around the table agreeing globally on how to reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, we are not going to get anywhere close to mitigating this problem. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to agree. So often international agreements is about shaking hands and agreeing to what to what you want to do. So there's 2 hands shaking, like a handshake. That's what it's supposed to look like. That. There you go. Handshaking. Countries agree to climate targets. So they go along to these conferences and they will agree that England will do X, Y, Z to try and reduce its greenhouse gas emissions. So countries agree on climate targets. So they'll go along and they'll make some promises about what they should do about climate change. So let's have a little look at some of these. A lot of the agreements are focused on one greenhouse gas in particular. So here we go. We're going to make our title look like greenhouse gases. There we go. It looks like pollution now. And in the chat, who's the quickest finger first? What is the main greenhouse gas that we need to mitigate against? What is the main greenhouse gas that's leading to climate change? Which one is the biggest contributor to climate change that governments of countries are most focused on? Hit us up in the chats. Beautiful drawing. Thanks, Mod. Appreciate that. I'm not so sure. Carbon. Good man. Well done, Peter. It is CO2. So 60% of greenhouse gases, GHG, is linked to CO2, which is carbon dioxide. Yeah, Mod, well done, Mod. Carbon dioxide. Yeah, so 60% of all greenhouse gases are to do with carbon dioxide. So any international agreement is about cutting carbon dioxide. Governments need to focus on how they're going to cut their carbon dioxide levels. Maybe I should put up here GHG, because GHG is a well-known acronym for greenhouse gases. So if you ever see me write GHG, you can write that in an exam as well, GHG, greenhouse gases it stands for. Yeah, maybe I'll put that in a little highlighter. Okay, here we go. Good. So well done to our people in the chat. Got it absolutely right, greenhouse gases. So they've agreed on targets. Let's have a little look at a target. So here we're going to do a target. I'm going to tell you about some targets that have been set by countries based on cutting their greenhouse gas emissions. That's supposed to look like a target. So one major conference was the Paris Agreement. I'm going to try and remember this one, guys. This will impress the examiner. The Paris Agreement was in 2015, and they set a target, and the target was to limit global temperatures to 1.5 degrees Celsius above pre-industrial levels. So what that means is, guys, so whatever the temperature was before the Industrial Revolution, so you're talking like 1700, we're going to allow 1.5% warmer than that time period, which is a very challenging target. Okay, it's a very challenging target. In fact, should we put there challenge, because it is a very challenging target. Does anybody know in the chat again what pathway we're on at the moment? So how much is global temperatures going to rise by based on our current levels of carbon emissions? Hit us up in the chat if you know the answer. I'll give you a clue. It's higher than 1.5 degrees. Any bids? Any bids? I'll come back to that in a minute. See if anybody wants to guess. Anyway, so that's the Paris Agreement. So world leaders met in Paris in 2015, and the agreement was they shook hands to make sure that temperatures don't more go above 1.5 degrees. And we have a winner, Peter. Yes. Well done, Peter. Smashing it tonight. Yeah, 3 degrees. We're on a pathway at the moment for a 3 to 4 degree rise in global temperatures, which is not where we want to be when we're saying 1.5 degree rise. Okay, what else happens at these international agreements? Well, one thing that they've been focusing on is reducing fossil fuels. There we go. That's a fossil, basically. It's in a rock. Yeah, there's a fossil. So they focus on reduction of fossil fuels. Okay. So lots of the agreements are saying, like, so for example, Germany will come along and say, we're going to cut our use of fossil fuels. My question is now, in the chat, hit us up, name the 3 main fossil fuels. 3 main fossil fuels. Go, 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 in the chat. Who's going to be the first one? Moderator, it can't be you. Don't be cheating. Fun fact. Okay, we've got a fun fact here whilst we're waiting. Thanks, moderator. Fun fact. A global temperature rise of just 1.5 degrees will melt 49% of all glaciers. Wow. Awesome. That is very, very good. Good fact, that is. So half of the world's glaciers will be receding if global temperatures rise, even by 1.5 degrees. And that's a target that we're not even going to hit. As you know, Peter said we're going to hit 3 degree rise. Lily, yes. Oil, well done, Lily. Mod, you're cheating. I told you couldn't answer any of these questions yet. Crude oil, coal, and gas. Well done, you, Lily, yes. So we're going to put oil underneath, coal, and gas. I should have put natural gas, really. So that's the blue flame that comes out of your boiler. A lot of us use natural gases. There we go. That's our natural gas. So a lot of these international agreements are focused on reducing fossil fuels. Okay. So here's another question very quickly. Name the 2 highest countries for emissions. So which 2 countries is it really important that they are part of these international agreements? Who should definitely be involved in these international agreements? I'm going to put here highest emissions. Let's see. So which countries have the highest global emissions? Let's put them under the spotlight here, guys, because these countries need to do better. They really do. I'll give you a bit of a clue with this flag that I'm drawing here. I'm drawing two flags. James, I'm afraid not. That's not the biggest emitters of global carbon emissions. Yes, USA. Yeah, correct answer is the USA. So let's put them on. Got a little flag here, look, stars and stripes. Here we go. These look so good when you've got them all coloured in, don't they? These little. Oh, I should have put some stars in there, guys. Never mind. And here's the other country. It's another major emerging economy, also known as the workshop of the world. Has anybody got it yet? No. It is China. So any international agreement must include USA and China. Okay. And together they account for 50% of all emissions. So together they contribute half of greenhouse gases. That is absolutely shocking. China and America, if you're watching this live stream, come on, guys, help us out. Do your bit for climate change and cut your emissions, reduce your greenhouse gases. Well, let's have a look at the UK. Now, the UK has been doing quite a lot, especially recently. So let's have a little look at the UK's latest targets. Some of you might know that Sir Keir Starmer has just got back from a meeting in Azerbaijan, and he's set some more targets for us to hit, guys. He's very ambitious on his targets for climate change. Britain is doing its bit. If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm just spending about 20 minutes doing a Union Jack. There you go. There's the Union Jack. So he went to a recent conference called COP29, and it was in Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan, there you go. Country in the far, far east of Europe, Asia, crossover Europe, Asia. So Keir Starmer, who's our current Prime Minister, here we go, let's put his name in. Oh my goodness, we're going to smash this exam. Got all this facts and information. So Keir Starmer went to this COP29 with all the other world leaders, and this is the target that he's promised we will hit. And it's quite ambitious, 81% cut in emissions. So that is climate change emissions, by 2035. So the UK is going to cut its greenhouse gas emissions by 81%. What's that? In 11 years, Sir Keir Starmer is very ambitious. Yeah, he's going to. So basically, I think we're on about 30% at the moment, around about 30% kind of renewables, and he's going to take it up to about 81%. And you're probably thinking, how is he going to do this? There's two main ways he's promised to do this. So I'm going to have to draw quite small here, guys. The first one is, in fact, does anybody know what energies are we going to use instead of using oil, coal, and gas? In the chat, what energies is the UK going to use to power for the future? There is a bit of a clue with that first one. What energies are the UK going to move to hit this target? Which one do you think this one is? Oh, yes. James is in there. Nuclear power. Well done. So Keir Starmer is going to open up lots of nuclear, well, not lots, but a number of new nuclear power stations under the title British Energy. So British Energy is going to expand, and that's how we're going to hit this. Well, let me highlight that. That's really important, that target. That's how we're going to hit this 81% cut in emissions. There is one other energy he's going to use as well. Who knows? What's the main renewable energy that the UK use? Here's my little clue here. This picture is actually tiny now. There you go. Can you see it? This one? I'm sure some of you are going to get it. It's our main renewable source of energy at the moment. And it is, yes, Kaya. Shout out to Kaya. She's hanging out with us on a Monday night. It is wind energy. Well done. By the way, guys, this is going to help you so much with your exams coming up. You're going to be flying. So Keir Starmer has led an ambitious target at the COP29 that was last week, and he's saying that we're going to cut emissions and we're going to have British energy. So we're almost there on this top section. I just need to add one little bit about international agreements, and then we're going to move on, which is we believe, and it is only fair, that countries that pollute should help the countries that are not as wealthy and not as polluting. So America, put your hands in your pockets. China, yeah, if you're watching, Donald Trump, I know you watch this live stream. Xi Jinping, I know you watch this live stream. You need to give more money to the LIC countries to help them mitigate climate change and adapt to climate change, which is our final point on this little topic, which is HICs, high-income countries. So such as the USA, to support LICs to fund mitigation and adaptation strategies. Mitigation and adaptation. You know, build a seawall for these people. Help them with GM crops, anything like that. Help them fund renewable energy projects, build hydroelectric power dams, anything that can get them away from these dreaded fossil fuels that create 60% of all greenhouse gas emissions. Look at that. That looks cool, doesn't it? I'm well happy with that. That is climate change mitigation. So what I'm going to do, just zoom out a little bit, guys, and just going to draw a little wiggly line to cut that section off, because that's one section that's quite important. There we go. What we're going to do, guys, as well, we're going to have, this is natural hazards today. We're going to have rainforests next Monday. Then we're going to have rivers, no, coasts, and then rivers. So we'll do all four before the mock. It'll be amazing. Right, I'm also going to zoom right out. Oh, you look like you're in space now. So that's mine. I'm just going to bring this line right down here now. Okay. So can you see my whole piece of paper there? Oh, no, you can't. There you go. Yeah, so that's how I've laid mine out. If you run out of space, guys, just put it on the back. Yeah, don't worry about it too much. We have a fun fact. Moderator, you are breaking the game tonight. I really appreciate it with your fun facts. Fun fact is, countries in the EU, USA, and Japan are experimenting with fusion power, which is fueled by water, has the potential to produce 4 times more energy per kilowatt. Ooh, interesting. That is smart. I don't know much about that myself, so that's very pioneering. And yeah, it's impressive that you know that. Thanks, Mod. You are a legend. I like your little facts. Right. We're going to go down to the bottom here. Are you ready for this next section? Make it as beautiful as that last section, won't you? Okay, I think you're in Zoom there. Let's press focus. Okay, this bit here we're going to look at why live in hazardous areas. Okay. Why live in hazardous areas? Why live in areas where you know there are earthquakes, when you know there are volcanic eruptions, when you know there's potential tsunami risk? Moderator, can you get me a fact? How many people live in areas which are vulnerable to natural hazards? It is astonishing, like a large proportion. I can't remember. Can you find out how many percentage of people or number of people live in natural hazard areas around the world? That would be really good. Okay, guys, hit us up in the chat. Why do people live near volcanoes in volcanic areas when you can clearly see it and you know the hazards? Or why do people live in earthquake zones? Okay, hit us up in the comments. What are the main reasons why people live in hazardous areas? Let's see what you can remember. James is in. Ooh, good one. Agriculture. It's on the list, James. Well done. It is there. It is there. So well done, you. Not able to afford to, yeah, well done, Alexandra. Shout out to Alexandra. Welcome to tonight's live stream. Appreciate you joining us. Yeah, poverty. Poverty is a massive one. I haven't got that on my list, but yeah, that should be on. Poverty, yeah, good. Lily's also said poverty. Yeah, many people can't afford to move. Yes, lots of answers coming in. Yeah, Kaya, you are correct. Yeah, a land around volcanic areas is very fertile soil, very productive for producing crops. And we'll get that is one on the list. Okay, I think we should get into this. Let's do this one. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is, should we do the crops? Let's do the crops then. See as everybody mentioned it. So if you live near a volcano, oh, where's my brown crayon? Wait a minute, guys. Let's put some crops in a field. There we go. Here's my crops. There's the crops. Sorry, guys. Just need to get my brown crayon. There we go. Here we are. So here is our very fertile soil. It's full of minerals that can be uptaken by the plants. There we go, little arrow going up. So that's the minerals in the soil, because volcanic areas have very fertile soil. So when the volcanic rocks are broken down by rainwater, kind of ice, things like that, they get weathered, and every rock will start off large and it gets weathered smaller and smaller and smaller by rivers or by rainwater, lots of things. Chemical weathering, loads of stuff. And basically, once a rock breaks down, all those silicates and minerals are in the soil and becomes very enriched and very fertile. So, weathered volcanic rocks, let's be really geeky, which is basalt. This is a black rock. So weathered volcanic rocks, such as basalt, are very create fertile soils. Yeah. They create fertile soils, which are full of nutrients, so they're nutrient rich. And basically, those nutrients, they're nutrient rich. Those nutrients are taken up. Sorry, guys, you ain't got the camera on there. Those nutrients are taken up by we focus by the crops, by the plants. So we always need an example. If we're going for the higher grades, we need examples. So I'm going to put increased. We've got a little arrow going up. So if you're a farmer and you live on the flanks of a volcano, that's the sides of the volcano, the flanks of the volcano. When your volcano is not erupting, you've got lots of weathered volcanic rock in that area where your farm is. Over time, it releases minerals into the soil layers, and that will increase your crop yields, which is the amount of crops that you can grow. And obviously, the idea of farming is to grow as much crops as you can to sell, to make as much money as possible, to increase your profits. So you're going to increase your crop yields. So you're going to be really happy. So let's give you some examples of where this happens. We're going to mention the Philippines quite a bit tonight. The Philippines, which is in Southeast Asia, they often live on the flanks of volcanoes, on the sides of volcanoes, and they have, really productive farming. The other one, just to give an example, is olives in Italy. So Italy's got its own volcanoes, such as Vesuvius, and an olive makes olive oil. If you've been to the Mediterranean, they look like little green seeds, basically, but they're full of oil. Olive oil. And you can get olive olive oil from them. So really productive around kind of south Italy, southern areas of Italy and Sicily. So there you go. Farming is really beneficial and also profitable. Maybe you should put that profitable in. Let me just write that word there. So it's more profitable to be a farmer in areas where there is high crop yields. Good. Right. So we've done that one. What is, safety. We might come back to that one if we've got enough room. Right, next one. We're going to do 4, I think, in total. 3 or 4. Here is my geothermal power station. So basically, we've got electricity. Let's just put electric volt there. And some power cables. There we go. It's supposed to look like a little power station, guys. Sorry about that. It's not the best. But so geothermal is where you use the heat from the ground. Yeah. So geothermal, let's put that in there. Geothermal energy. So in volcanic areas, magma is really close to the surface. And what you can do is you can use the Earth's heat to warm up water on the surface or in your geothermal power station, turn it to steam to turn a turbine. And that's absolutely fantastic. It's renewable, it's sustainable, it's zero emissions. So it's really good source. And that will improve the amount of energy in your country and in theory, lower people's energy bills because you've got lots of energy that you've got a surplus that you might be able to reduce people's bills. So I'm guessing, and I've not looked at Iceland's energy bills, but in theory, they might be cheaper. So let's 2 countries, e.g. Iceland and New Zealand are 2 countries that have a large amount of geothermal energy in their energy mix. And a little fact, just to add to facts, because we've probably got a lot of grade 7s to 9s watching tonight, 28% of Iceland's energy is geothermal. So there you go, really good source of energy. So New Zealand and Iceland have a really high mix of geothermal energy. Right, one of my favorite things to do, let's draw you or me. Who likes to go on holidays? Most of us, there we are. Tourism, yeah. If you've got a volcano near where you live, then you're going to attract tourists to come and see them, to go walk, take pictures, and have a little look at these wonderful features, really, aren't they? Yeah, who wouldn't want to see a real volcano? If you haven't seen one, guys, they are pretty impressive. So we're going to have tourism economy. Tourism. So generating an income for countries, inviting people to come and have a little look at, at the volcano or some of its features. So the tourism economy. So I'll give you a couple of examples. We have Ye Old Faithful. Ye Old Faithful. Yeah. And Ye Old Faithful is a geyser, which is basically, it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen it. If you haven't seen this, go and Google it and put it on YouTube. A geyser is a hot spring of water, yeah, that comes out of the ground. So because of the magma underneath the surface, because of the heat underneath the surface, it creates steam and it fires up all this water, probably about once every minute or so. And it's like the higher than Evershed. It's like really high, super impressive. Ye Old Faithful is in the USA, and it is a geyser, which is a natural hot water spring, basically, that's heated by volcanic magma. The other one is the Blue Lagoon. The Blue Lagoon. Now, this is somewhere that I'd love to go. The Blue Lagoon is a hot spring. So if you are into like healthcare, spa. This is like a heated swimming pool. Well, it's a natural lake, basically, that's got hot magma below the surface. There we go, there's a hot magma. And people go along and they will go for a little swim in there. They'll sit around and have a relaxation. It's outdoors. It's in Iceland. And it's a geothermal pool. Yeah, or hot spring. Yeah, maybe I should put geothermal pool. That one is in Iceland. And if you go to Iceland, a lot of people go and sit in the geothermal pools. And I don't think it's cheap. I think it's around about £50, £40, something like that, to go and experience the whole of the Blue Lagoon. It's like a spa place, so it's quite nice, quite posh. But the good thing about tourism is it actually creates jobs, which then gives people more income, which then means there's more taxes for the government, which then can be put back into new services like new hospitals or schools or whatever, back into the country. So you've got this beautiful cycle of tourism brings people in, the locals get richer, they end up paying taxes because they're working, and that improves services. So the whole area improves just through tourism. And this is called, and I don't know where I'm going to squeeze this in, but this is really important. I'm going to put it up here. This is called the multiplier effect. Multiplier effect. Yeah. Sorry, guys, it's getting really small now. Let's zoom in there. So it's called the multiplier effect. And this is where the whole area benefits. The whole area benefits from the arrival of tourists. It creates jobs for locals. Those locals earn more money. The government will earn more taxes, and they can spend that taxation money on services. So it's absolutely fantastic for the area. Is our moderator still finding out how many people live in hazardous areas? I don't know. Anyway, there we go. Tourism. Right, we need to fit in. Oh, let's try and fit in two more. Over here, minerals. Precious minerals. Okay. So these volcanic areas, because of the amount of geophysical movement in the land, the pressure and the heat of volcanoes, they can create very precious minerals. And some of them are very valuable. So if you live near these, you might have a mining company that can extract and make money. So gold, silver, wait for it, diamonds. Yes, very, very valuable. So these are just some minerals that you can find and mine near to volcanic areas. So that's also really, really good. The other one, which we've already mentioned up here, is basalt. And basalt is a rock that's used to construct roads. Construct roads. So it's a material that we put down to form our road system. There we go. That is basalt, which you can find in volcanic areas. So there we go. So there's our new road. Wow, look at all these benefits of living in volcanic areas. It kind of makes it look appealing, doesn't it? I'm going to add. We've got to add this one, haven't we? Alexandra, I absolutely agree. Alexandra and Lily. I'm going to put up here poverty. Let's just write poverty. No choice. Yeah. So for some people, they can't afford to move anywhere else. They don't have a choice but to live in that area. So poverty and no choice. Right, I want to add one more. See that little tiny bit of gap at the bottom here, guys? Hopefully you've got some room. If not, just put it on your other one, on the back. So, and this was to do with all the ones we've talked about are to do with volcanoes. This one's to do with earthquakes. So San Francisco is in the United States. It has lots of skyscrapers. It's a very modern city, and it's a really prosperous city. There we go. Well, it certainly was about 10 years ago. Suffered a little bit. And some people want to live in places like San Francisco because the quality of life and being with family outweighs the risks. So all these people that live in Los Angeles, San Francisco, Tokyo, Japan, they trust their governments. They know their governments have prepared, they're well planned, and that's where their job is, that's where the family is, and they know that living in that area provides them with a high income and a good quality of life. So they don't want to leave. And they also trust that the government of the USA has effective 3 Ps. Now, this is a bit of revision. The 3 Ps. So the reason why they don't move is because they think that their government have everything ready for the next big earthquake. So they're not worried. They've got aseismic buildings. Let me just, there you go. So, I can't put, where do I get, San Francisco, we go. Yeah, for higher grades, it's really important to mention places. You could have mentioned Tokyo, but San Francisco is there. Quality of life outweighs the risks. But what are the 3 Ps? Remember the 3 Ps of hazard management. Fun fact, 2.7 billion people live in hazardous areas. There you go. Can we squeeze that on? Can I squeeze it on? God, this sheet's getting too busy. 2.7 billion. That's basically a quarter, isn't it? Roughly. 2.7 billion live in hazard areas. Yeah. Or 1 in 4 live in hazard areas. Oh, Kaya, love that. Kaya said, predict, protect, and prepare. 100% correct. Well done. So they believe, if they live in San Francisco, they believe that their government, Donald Trump, has everything in place. They've got prediction technologies, they've got protection in their buildings, and their government is prepared for the next disaster. And why bother? Exactly what, shout out to Chrissy for joining us tonight. I think that might be Alex, but anyway, shout out to Chrissy. Believe that, yeah, it won't happen. The last time the earthquake in San Francisco, 1989. 1989. You lot weren't born, but me and your parents were. And that's a long time ago, 1989. Are you really going to move house and move your whole life for an earthquake that happens once every 30 years or 40 years? So Alex is absolutely spot on. Yeah, they believe it won't happen, or if it does happen, you know, they're just going to take the risk because it doesn't happen very often. Okay, look at that now. I'm well impressed. We've got one more little section to do, and I've got about 10, 15 minutes left because it normally takes us about an hour, doesn't it, these live streams? So there we go. That's how it's looking so far. It's action-packed there, isn't it? But we've got one more space. There's not as much information on this side, actually, when we do this. Let me show you the whole page. There we go, look. How's your page looking? If you're running out of space, guys, just go on to the next side. Go on to the other side. Right, one more bit to get you ready for natural hazards. And we're going to zoom in over here. And we're going to talk about Typhoon Haiyan. Just move my laptop out of the way. There we go. Typhoon Haiyan. Category 5 tropical storm in the Philippines. And we're going to talk about the response. So, Typhoon Haiyan. And we're going to focus on the management and responses. Okay, management and responses. Okay, so I'll just give you a few facts. It was in the Philippines. The Philippines, double P-I-N-E-S. It's in the Philippines. Let's zoom you in, guys. So it's Philippines. Philippines. Philippines, and the Philippines is a low-income country. So you would expect its response to be somewhat limited and probably relying on international aid. And we'll check that out in a minute. But yeah, let's put that. Okay. It is a Category 5 storm, which is the highest, Category 5. And it had 170 miles per hour winds. Last but not least, oh no, we'll do a couple more. Sorry. The date was the 7th of November, 2013. And let's put the death toll on. We'll put the death toll over here. A little bit sad, but it's really like we use death toll to measure like the impact of the event. So if the death toll is high, we know the response might not be what we were hoping for. So it's a measure of success. So the death toll was 6,300 deaths. And that's my little gravestone there. It's a little bit sad, isn't it? That? There you go. There's the gravestone. So when we're looking at the response and how effective it was, let's just remember that 6,300 people's mums, dads, children, grandparents were lost their lives in this disaster. So the response was there, but perhaps could have been better. So the next thing we're going to look at is immediate responses. So these are things that happen, well, by their nature, pretty soon. So immediate responses. Put that in a bubble. I class immediate responses to be between 1 and 3 days, pretty much. Okay. So I think anything that happens within the first hour, first minutes, hours, up to about 3 days, I think that's classed as immediate responses. Okay. So let's have a little look. Immediate responses are all about, they're really, really important, and they're all about preserving life, helping the injured, finding people who are buried in rubble, first aid, water, shelter, just making sure that people live. So the first thing, immediate responses are so important because it's about preserving life, making sure that people don't die, which obviously people did in this particular disaster. But they did do a lot of positive things. Here's the first one. So we got the Philippines Red Cross charity. Now we have a Red Cross charity as well. It's the same. It's a big, Red Cross is a massive global charity. Red Cross charity, which is an NGO. It's a non-governmental organization. It's a charity. And they do amazing things to help people in disaster zones, such as areas around Typhoon Haiyan. So what did the charity do? They distributed rice. So they gave out some rice to people, rice rations. They also gave out canned food. Yeah. So anything in tins, because it's got a longer life expectancy. So they gave out tin food and rice. And this is an example of food aid. So aid is anything that countries send or people send to help out. It's often used for food, water, and medicine. So there we go. The Philippines Red Cross, they gave out rice and canned food as food aid. Now, what did we do? We were involved. Good old Britain. Let's draw the UK flag again. I think we get involved in everything, whether it's good or bad. Seems to be always involved. Anyway, here's the Union Jack. These little pictures really do help. So when you're sat in your exam, you'll go, oh, immediate responses, and then you can remember the little pictures. Helps with revision and memory. So we sent temporary shelter. We sent a lot of temporary shelter. to the regions most affected by the storm. And the UK sent tents. Yeah, so that was our help. We sent some tents as our tent. And there we go. So that people have got somewhere dry and relatively safe to live for a short period of time. What else was sent? Let's do this one then. So we set up evacuation centres. So this is an immediate response by the government of the Philippines to set up evacuation centres. So these are buildings where you can go and shelter if you've lost your home. Yeah. So if your home's been impacted by the typhoon, in this building, you will be able to go get a bed, camp bed, food, water, shelter, and all of those things. They set up 1,200 evacuation centres. Most of these were in schools or churches. So any schools or churches that weren't damaged in the typhoon, they used those buildings as evacuation centres, which was very, very useful at that particular time. Right, the last one we've got is Canada, a country that I'd love to visit, by the way. Canada and the USA sent search and rescue teams. So this could be firemen, trained mountain rescue teams, sniffer dogs, anything like that that could help in the rescue to find people that might be trapped. That's a torch, by the way. So the USA and Canada sent search and rescue teams, and that is our little torch. So these immediate responses, without doubt, are critical to the response that was needed. And without these, the death toll would have been higher. Without these things, the death toll would have been a lot higher. But what you can see is that poorer countries, like the Philippines, have to rely on outside international help. So that's kind of a bit of a problem because it takes time for these countries to send stuff. I mean, how long does it take to send tents from the UK? I don't know, but probably a few days and weeks, if, probably longer. But anyway, there's a lot of reliance on international support here. Ideally, the Philippines should be able to manage their own immediate responses themselves, but they struggle to cope. It's called capacity to cope. Right, last little bit, guys. Before we finish off here, we're going to do long-term responses. So I've got this bottom corner here, which I'll just move this down here. There we go. Hopefully you're keeping up. Right, so long-term responses. Here we go. So I think long-term responses, is anything from a week onwards to get the country back on its feet again. Yeah. So the main idea of long-term responses is to return life back to normal. So whatever it was like before the typhoon, long-term responses is not about preserving life. It's about getting life back to normal. So kids can go to school, parents can go to work, you've got a house to go back to, all of that sort of really important stuff. So let's have a look at our first one. I absolutely love this one. This solution is brilliant, by the way. Can you try and remember this one? Because this one is one of my favorites. Just because I like marine life. So what they did in the Philippines was to protect their coastline. So just to remind you that the main hazard in a typhoon is not the wind. It is actually a tidal surge. It's where the seawater is blown onto the land and it causes flooding and damage by floodwater. So what they did, which is very cost effective, not too expensive, they look amazing. Again, if you're not sure what these are, go and Google them or watch a YouTube video. They planted mangroves, which are salt-tolerant plants, like trees that grow near the edges of the coast. So they got mangroves. And if you plant mangroves along your coastline, basically you create a natural barrier of trees. And if there's a surge of water coming onto the land, it blocks it, it diffuses the energy, it dissipates the energy. And when there's no storms, mangroves are really great places for like fish nurseries and things like that, for fish to breed, fish breeding grounds. And they look really nice, like they're very natural. They're trees along the coast and they grow in salt water. They are incredible. I absolutely love mangroves. And the habitats that they create, if you're into like marine habitats like me, they create a beautiful habitat space and they're basically a natural flood defense. So they, let's put some notes here. They planted mangroves, which are these saltwater trees, to protect against tidal surge. So next time there's a storm, the wind blows up the waves, it gets the waves really large. These mangroves will block the wave energy and protect the urban areas that are behind it. Yeah, so they act as a flood defense. They're absolutely fantastic. Right, another good one. Try and remember this one as well. Build better back. So the Japanese, who are experts in hazard management, yeah, they're like the world's leaders. They have this famous phrase, which is called build better back, which is basically don't just put the same stuff there that was there before that might get damaged and kill people. Put something there that's more hazard resistant. Well, one thing that they decided to do was they decided to have a no-build zone. Yeah. So because most of the people who were killed in this typhoon were living at the coast, what they said was, I know what we'll do. We won't allow people to build so close to the coast. So we had a no build zone. So for a few hundred meters of the coastline, no houses were allowed to be built, no roads, no infrastructure, to protect people from tidal surge, to prevent people from the waves, you know, in the winds, the surge of water flooding land, which is brilliant. However, just for my little geeky geographers, by 2016, only 1% of this target was being delivered. Only 1% of this target was achieved. So it's a brilliant idea, great solution, but they haven't really delivered on what they promised. Only 1% of the area has been protected from development of housing and industry. They're still building on the coast. So come on, guys. If you're watching this, Prime Minister of the Philippines, stick to this. A really good idea. Don't build houses on the coast, which is making it more vulnerable to tropical storms. Okay, a couple of other things. They built cyclone shelters, which are concrete buildings on stilts. And the idea is, of a cyclone shelter, if there is a typhoon or a cyclone, you go to the shelter. And they've built lots of those around the coastline, these cyclone shelters. I've got some more here. Next one, Oxfam. You may have seen that. If you go on the high street, there's little shops called Oxfam. These are charities. Oxfam did the most amazing thing, by the way. Oxfam is also a non-governmental organisation, or an NGO. They purchased replacement fishing boats, because a lot of the fishing boats were destroyed in the storms. They actually bought new fishing boats for the local people, the fishermen, so that they could go back and go fishing again. So bought new fishing boats to restart the economy. Restart the economy. Get them out working. It means more food, and it gets the fishing industry back on its feet again. And Oxfam did that. Really cool work. There's my little fishing boat. There we go. They bought new boats for the fishermen to get them out back on the water, to get them working again and restart the economy. Right, we've got 2 more to do, guys. Over this side, we've got some countries here that helped out. So I'm going to put some flags here. 3 areas of the world that helped out. The first one is Japan, which has got a flag with a red dot in it. There we go. There's Japan. Let's get the camera right. So Japan. The other country is the USA. Stars and stripes. I'm getting good at drawing flags. I've drawn quite a few here. And there we go. There's the USA. And the European Union. So this was Germany, France, and at the time, the UK was part of the European Union in 2013. So the EU, yeah, again, all of these areas, very wealthy areas of the world, they provided financial, so they gave money, financial and medical aid. So these parts of the world helped to provide financial and medical aid. Again, though, look how much of this is coming from outside of the Philippines. A lot of it is coming from outside of the Philippines. Right, one of my favorite ones, which I think is really good, was by the United Nations Development Program. So the United Nations Development Program, the UN. And what they did is they gave, obviously there's a lot of people out of work following this hazard. Like businesses have been damaged. People couldn't go to work. So what the government said they would do is they would pay you to help clean, recover, rebuild, help out in the community, and paid people to actually, it was called Cash for Work. What a great idea this is. Cash for Work. And it was all about paid locals to rebuild the community. Paid locals to rebuild, oops, running out of space here. Rebuild community. So paid the locals to rebuild the community. Cash for Work. What a great idea. Yeah, in a time of crisis when people are uncertain about their job, they're struggling for money and they need money because they've not, they've lost a lot of things. Cash for Work program where money was available for people who wanted to help with the tidy up, the clean up of the disaster. So there you have it, guys. That is long-term responses. I'll just hold it there for a second, just for a few seconds. There you go. So again, long-term responses is all about making sure that next time you are ready for that big disaster. And Typhoon Haiyan has done some good things there. In particular, I like the mangrove plantations. That's a really good idea, the no-build zone, but they're failing to hit the targets on that one. And again, they relied heavily on international aid. But in theory, long-term responses are probably more important than immediate responses because it's about protecting your people, your economy, and your infrastructure for the next big one. And if you're the Philippines, they come thick and fast. There's always lots of tropical storms. They have at least one a year. Sometimes it's about 3 a year. On average, it's about 2 to 3 a year. Category 5 ones are quite frequent, so it's about being ready. So there you have it. Look at that, guys. Wow, amazing, amazing, amazing revision. There you go. So we've covered international agreements and climate change. We've looked at why people live in hazardous areas and all the important things that we do to respond to hazards, from immediate responses to long-term, based on our case study, Typhoon Haiyan. I tell you what, you guys are all going to be set ready for your examinations in December. So let me just go back onto the full screen. Hit us up in the comments, guys, if you've enjoyed today's live stream. Remember, post a picture to your teachers. Take a picture, put it on Shobi, and show them the work that you've done. That would be amazing. And yeah, be back for next Monday's live stream. We're going to do living world, tropical rainforests and hot deserts. The only place to be revising for your mocks as well, to get you feeling good and feeling positive. Yeah. You know what, guys? I've enjoyed hanging out with you lot. I've loved doing, absolutely love making that today. Yeah, and hopefully you found it useful. So with this now, make sure you look at it every day. 5-10 minutes every day. Keep checking that over. Have a little look. Keep it in your revision notes for the summer as well. You'll need that. And I appreciate every single one of you who's joined us for an hour tonight, over an hour tonight. I really love that. And thank you for everybody who's commented. Cheers, James. All the best. Have a nice evening. Moderator, thank you for hitting us up in the comments with all your facts. Really love it. Lily, amazing. Thank you so much. Hope to see you next week. Kaya, awesome. Lovely to see you. See you in the morning for tutor. Yeah, I look forward to it. Right, guys, I'm going to leave you there. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for hanging out with me doing geography. And for now, take care. Oh, Alex, sneaked in. Alex, yeah, thank you for helping. You take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye, geographers. Bye.